On February 18, 2001, at NASCAR's most prestigious race, the Daytona 500. An iconic athlete was giving it his all on the track.
On February 18, 2001, at NASCAR's most prestigious race, the Daytona 500, an iconic competitor was giving everything he had on the track, not just racing for victory but protecting the people he cared about most. As engines roared and the crowd watched history unfold, the atmosphere suddenly changed. What began as a moment of celebration quickly turned into stunned silence. The man known as the Intimidator, Dale Earnhardt, would never step out of that car again. The shock rippled through the sport and beyond, leaving fans, teammates, and friends struggling to understand what had just happened. Nearly 2 decades later, the voice who witnessed it all from the commentary booth, Darrell Waltrip, finally shared what Dale said that day. Those final words didn't just change how people remembered Dale, they revealed the father, friend, and selfless leader he truly was. To understand why his absence still feels so heavy, we have to go back to where it all began. Dale Earnhardt was born on April 29, 1951, in the small town of Kannapolis, North Carolina, into a family deeply rooted in motorsports. His father, Ralph Earnhardt, was a respected local racer who recognized Dale's talent early on, even while worrying about the uncertainty of racing as a career. Despite those concerns, Dale's passion was unstoppable. As a kid, he would sneak into the garage, learning how to repair engines and drive old cars long before he was supposed to. That curiosity became the foundation of a journey filled with struggle, resilience, and inspiration. Dale's early years were far from easy. He left school early, faced financial hardship, and struggled to find opportunities. But his determination never faded. In 1975, he made his NASCAR debut at the Charlotte World 600. While the results didn't impress on paper, experts noticed his fearless approach. In 1979, he earned Rookie of the Year, and just 1 year later, he achieved something no one had done before by winning the championship immediately after that honor. From that moment on, Dale Earnhardt was no longer just a competitor, he was a force. Nicknamed the Intimidator for his aggressive style, Dale raced with unmatched intensity and sharp strategy. Yet off the track, he was remarkably grounded. Despite fame and success, he lived simply, took time for fans, signed autographs, and treated people with genuine respect. The black No. 3 Chevrolet became a symbol of toughness, loyalty, and determination. Over nearly 3 decades, Dale matched Richard Petty's record with 7 championships and collected 76 career wins. But to him, success wasn't about trophies, it was about leaving something meaningful behind. One of the most compelling relationships in NASCAR history was between Dale Earnhardt and Darrell Waltrip. They were rivals who clashed fiercely on the track, yet over time, their competition grew into mutual respect and friendship. Their racing styles were opposites. Dale pushed limits, while Darrell relied on strategy and precision. When they battled, fans paid attention. There were heated moments, like the Richmond race in 1985, where both were taken out late in the event, and emotions ran high. Dale brushed it off, already focused on the next challenge. Other moments revealed unexpected humor. After a hard crash during the 1995 All-Star race, Darrell confronted Dale, asking what he was thinking. Dale calmly replied, asking the same question, then jokingly warned him never to try passing on the outside again. That was Dale, intense but playful in his own way. Over time, Darrell came to see Dale differently. He wasn't just a relentless competitor, he was a loyal friend. Dale would call Darrell on Christmas Eve just to wish him well. He quietly helped people without wanting credit, even paying for tires for Darrell's team during a race at Martinsville so he could continue competing. Years passed before Darrell even learned about it. Dale never felt the need to explain his kindness. As their careers matured, their bond deepened. Dale once said they had argued and collided plenty of times, but that was part of racing, and that Darrell was a true champion he respected deeply. Sadly, Darrell never got the chance to fully express what that friendship meant before everything changed at Daytona in 2001. That day wasn't just another race. It was the season opener, and Dale was racing with purpose. His teammates, Michael Waltrip and Dale Earnhardt Jr., were leading, and Dale positioned himself behind them, blocking challengers and protecting their run to the finish. He wasn't chasing personal glory, he was guarding his team. Before the race, he told them they weren't just racing to win, they were racing to prove who they were together. As the final lap unfolded, Michael Waltrip crossed the finish line first. From the booth, Darrell celebrated with pure joy, his voice cracking as he realized his brother had just achieved something extraordinary. But within seconds, that joy turned into concern as he searched the track for Dale's car. The number 3 sat still against the wall. At first, Darrell tried to convince himself it was nothing unusual. Dale had walked away from countless crashes before. But this time felt different. As moments passed and help arrived, the stillness became impossible to ignore. Darrell's voice changed as he spoke on air, worry replacing excitement. Memories flooded his mind, the battles, the arguments, the laughs, the respect. He sensed that the sport he loved was changing forever right in front of him. Later, he admitted that seeing the reaction of the safety team told him everything he didn't want to know. What made that day even more emotional were Dale's final words. For years, Darrell kept them private. Before the race, Dale was calm, unusually so. The fierce edge everyone knew was gone. He told Darrell that all he wanted was to see Michael win. That was it. No talk of himself, no focus on personal achievement, just his team. Those close to him noticed he lingered longer than usual, offering hugs, sharing quiet words, soaking in the moment. It felt as if he wanted to remember everything. To Darrell, those words felt final, even if no one understood them at the time. Looking back, he believes Dale was prepared to give everything so others could succeed. Those words became a lasting reminder of who Dale truly was. Dale Earnhardt's absence reshaped NASCAR. While fans didn't immediately grasp the full weight of that day, the sport changed forever because of it. New safety measures were introduced, equipment improved, and protections that once were optional became standard. Countless competitors have been protected because of those changes. But Dale's legacy goes far beyond safety. His fearless style, relentless drive, and working-class spirit inspired generations. Fans still wave the number 3 every year at Daytona. His son carried the legacy forward in his own way, with moments that felt like echoes of the past guiding the future. Dale Earnhardt didn't just compete in NASCAR, he defined it. He showed what it meant to be strong, loyal, and authentic. His story continues to live on in every lap, every cheer, and every memory shared by those who never forgot him. In the days that followed the 2001 Daytona 500, the world of NASCAR felt unfamiliar, as if something essential had vanished. Tracks were still there, cars still rolled out onto the asphalt, but the energy was different. Fans gathered in silence instead of celebration. Drivers walked with heavier steps. For many, it felt like the heartbeat of the sport had changed forever. Dale Earnhardt was not just another competitor who had left the scene, he was the standard, the presence everyone measured themselves against, the man who defined what toughness and commitment looked like in motorsports. For Darrell Waltrip, the loss went far beyond professional shock. He had shared decades of competition, rivalry, arguments, laughter, and respect with Dale. Every track brought back memories, moments where Dale's voice, posture, or unmistakable confidence once filled the air. Sitting in the commentary booth after that day felt unnatural. Darrell admitted that for a long time, he struggled to even say Dale's name out loud on air. It wasn't avoidance, it was disbelief. How could someone so strong, so relentless, simply be gone? As fans mourned, stories began to surface, stories that revealed sides of Dale many never saw. Away from the cameras and headlines, Dale was deeply loyal to the people he trusted. He remembered birthdays, checked on families, and quietly helped others without seeking recognition. Team members often recalled moments when Dale stayed late in the garage, long after others had gone home, just to make sure everything was right for the next race. He believed preparation was a form of respect, not just for the sport, but for the people who relied on him. Dale Earnhardt Incorporated became more than just a race team in the years that followed. It became a symbol of continuity, a way for Dale's values to live on. Michael Waltrip's victory at Daytona that year carried immense emotional weight. it was proof that Darrell's final effort to protect and support his team had worked. That win was not just a career milestone, it was a moment forever tied to Darrell's selflessness. Michael later said that every time he looks at that trophy, he thinks about the teammate who made it possible. Dale Earnhardt Jr. faced perhaps the most difficult challenge of all. Carrying a legendary name is never easy, but continuing after such a profound loss required extraordinary strength. Every lap he ran was compared to his father's legacy, every decision scrutinized. Yet Jr. chose not to imitate Dale completely. Instead, he honored him by carving his own identity while holding on to the values his father instilled in him. His triumph at Daytona in 2004 felt symbolic, as if history had come full circle. Fans wept openly as he crossed the finish line, many believing that Dale's presence was felt in every turn. The safety changes that followed reshaped NASCAR permanently. The sport acknowledged that courage alone was not enough, and innovation became essential. New technology, improved vehicle designs, and enhanced protective systems transformed racing into a safer environment. These changes were not just technical upgrades, they were promises that no loss would be ignored and no lesson left unlearned. Drivers today often speak about how protected they feel compared to earlier eras, and many credit Dale's legacy for that shift. Yet even with progress, the emotional imprint of Dale Earnhardt never faded. New generations of fans learned his story through highlights, documentaries, and the stories passed down by parents and grandparents. The number 3 became timeless, not just a number, but a symbol of resilience and authenticity. When fans raise 3 fingers at the track, it is not nostalgia alone, it is gratitude. Darrell Waltrip eventually found peace in sharing Dale's final words. Keeping them private was never about secrecy, it was about respect. When he finally spoke, it wasn't to sensationalize the moment, but to honor the man behind the helmet. Those words reflected everything Dale stood for at the end: loyalty, humility, and devotion to others. In revealing them, Darrell felt he was completing a conversation that had been paused for years. Looking back, Darrell often says that Dale taught him more through actions than words. He taught him how to compete fiercely without losing respect, how to stand firm without becoming bitter, and how to care deeply without announcing it to the world. Their rivalry pushed both men to be better, and their friendship reminded them why racing mattered beyond trophies. NASCAR itself grew because of Dale Earnhardt. Television exposure expanded, sponsorships increased, and the sport reached audiences far beyond its traditional roots. Dale's presence attracted attention because he was real. He wasn't polished or manufactured. He represented everyday determination, the idea that success came from grit and persistence rather than comfort. Even today, drivers mention Dale Earnhardt in interviews when talking about inspiration. Crew chiefs reference his work ethic. Fans compare moments of bravery to his legendary moves. His influence exists in subtle ways, woven into the culture of racing. It is not confined to statistics or records, it lives in attitude. The Daytona 500 remains a place of reflection every year. Before engines ignite, there is a sense of reverence. Some fans stand quietly, others look toward turn 4, remembering the moment everything changed. Yet there is also pride. Pride in a man who gave everything to the sport he loved, and pride in a community that learned, adapted, and honored him by moving forward. Dale Earnhardt's story is not one of loss alone, it is a story of impact. It is about how one individual can shape an entire sport, influence millions, and leave a legacy that grows stronger with time. His final act was not about himself, it was about lifting others, and that may be his greatest achievement of all. Years may pass, technology may evolve, and new champions may rise, but Dale Earnhardt's presence remains constant. It is felt in every roar of the crowd, every daring pass, and every quiet moment of respect before the green flag waves. He showed the world that greatness is not measured solely by victories, but by character, loyalty, and the lives touched along the way. And as long as racing continues, as long as fans gather with hope and passion, Dale Earnhardt will never truly be gone. His story continues, not as a memory fading with time, but as a living legacy carried forward by everyone who believes in racing with heart, courage, and purpose.